Collectors assemble. Today, we're diving into a review of an icon, a legend, our guy from Brooklyn, the first Avenger himself, Mafex Captain America. All right, before we get into the figure, let's give a quick shout out to Captain America's origin story. Back in World War II, Steve Rogers was just a scrawny kid from Brooklyn with a big heart. He volunteered for a top-secret project, got hit with the super soldier serum, and boom, Captain America was born, the ultimate symbol of bravery, resilience, and all things star-spangled. From fighting Red Skull to leading the Avengers, Cap's story is legendary. And today, we've got the Mafex figure to prove it. Let's jump right into the figure review, starting with the packaging. So, here it is, the Mafex Captain America box. It's your classic Mafex style, no frills, with a big display window, and Cap looking all kinds of heroic right there. And while it may not have that comic-inspired interior we got with Daredevil, it's still a sleek setup that makes you feel like you're about to unbox a high-quality collectible. We've got some nice product shots around the sides and back, showing off all those epic poses Cap can hit. And the colors pop in a way that really screams patriotic. So, it's simple, it's effective, and it's all about Cap. All right, enough about the box. Let's open this bad boy up and check out the real star of the show. All right, here he is, fresh out of the box. Let's check out what Cap's bringing to the party. First up, we've got 2 extra head sculpts, one masked and one unmasked, plus an extra cowl piece for when he's not suited up, which is a cool touch. And then we have not 1, but 2 shields. So if he loses one in battle, he's still got backup. But wait, there's more. Cap comes with a whopping 7 extra pairs of hands, so you can put him in just about any pose you can think of. Though, I gotta say, no saluting hand, big missed opportunity. And finally, we've got 2 shield handles, so he's ready to take down any Hydra agent in style. Cap's all geared up and ready for action. Let's see how he looks fully assembled. All right, now let's get to the main event, the figure itself. And let me tell you, this thing looks phenomenal. The proportions are spot on. They really nailed that hero stance. So, starting from the top, by default, Cap's rocking a neutral face. And I gotta say, the sculpting here is impressive. He's got that classic chiseled jaw and strong cheekbones. Plus, check out those wings on his mask. Not only are they nicely done, but no paint issues in sight. And the skin tone, perfectly balanced, not too pale. So Cap looks alive and ready to jump into action. There's even some subtle shading around his collarbone, which adds that touch of realism. And those biceps look like they could bench press a tank. Moving on to the iconic star on his chest and back, it's sculpted beautifully. And I gotta give props to the subtle shading on the chainmail. It really makes it pop under the light. As for the red and white stripes, they're looking crisp on mine, no sloppy lines here. Heading south, the belt is clean and well-defined, and he comes with closed fist hands that make him look ready for action. And check this out. The wrinkle details on the suit around the pelvis area give it that realistic fabric look. And yes, folks, I'm going there. Cap's got well-rounded America's ass in full display with no complaints here. The pants have a nice shading effect that adds depth. And at the boots, you've got some solid wrinkle sculpting around the ankles. Overall, the paint job on this Cap is a major win, way better than my Daredevil. And I'm happy to report there are no major paint issues with mine. It's solid, it's clean, and it's everything you'd hope for in a Cap figure. Now let's dive into the fun part, accessories. Cap comes loaded with a bunch of extras that'll make any pose enthusiast smile. Let's break it down. First up, the hands. Because Cap doesn't just point and punch, you've got open action pose hands for those I'm jumping into battle moments, relaxed hands for the more chill, just led the team to victory look, and classic open palms. Plus, we've got pointing finger hands for when he's giving orders or calling out on your left, closed fists for holding stuffs, and specific hands for gripping the shield. And let's not forget the dedicated open hands for those dramatic shield throwing shots. Next up, the shields. Cap comes with not 1, but 2 shields, each with its own mission. The first shield is for mounting on his back, and here's a pro tip. You'll need to unplug the bottom right strap to make it work. Just a heads up, only that bottom right strap is made to be unplugged. The others are glued down tight, so handle with care. To get it on, you unplug the strap, slide Cap's arm into the shield, and plug the strap back in. Boom! Instant classic Cap with the shield on his back pose. Now, for the second shield, which is all about those epic holding and throwing poses. Mafex includes 2 sets of handles here, one for gripping and one for throwing. For For the holding pose, grab Cap's shield holding hand, secure it onto the smaller handle, and slide Cap's arm through the larger handle before attaching the wrist to the hand. Plug that into the shield. It's a bit of a process, but worth it for that perfect stance. For the throwing pose, swap the handle to the smaller one and position the little forks inside the handles. Honestly, I'm not the biggest fan of this system. It's a bit fiddly and can be stressful to set up, like trying to solve a mini puzzle when all you want is Cap to look awesome mid-throw. I think they could have simplified it with a more user-friendly option. But hey, once you get it right, it does look pretty epic. But overall, this shield looks amazing. The sculpted details are spot on, with that signature star right in the center and those concentric rings that catch the light just right. And the paint job, chef's kiss. It's shiny, vibrant, and has that glossy finish that makes it look battle-ready without being over the top. Now let's talk about Cap's extra head sculpts. He's not just sticking to the heroic neutral look. He comes with 2 extra heads that bring some serious personality to your display. First, we've got the angry face. And let me tell you, this isn't just mildly annoyed Cap. This is full on. Just found out Hydra infiltrated SHIELD, angry. It's intense, detailed, and has all the determination you'd expect from our star-spangled hero. And then we've got the unmasked Steve Rogers head. This one is a showstopper in person. It perfectly captures that classic, all-American Steve Rogers look. The sculpting on the face is sharp, with strong cheekbones and that chiseled jawline that could cut through vibranium. The hair has subtle shading that adds depth and makes it pop under the light, giving it a realistic touch. Plus, the skin tone has just the right amount of warmth, so when the light hits it, it looks lifelike, not waxy or overly pale. Honestly, the unmasked head is a favorite for when Cap's not in full battle mode, more like when he's giving an inspiring speech to the team or reflecting on the good old days in Brooklyn. The attention to detail here is top-notch, and it adds so much character to this figure. These head sculpts are game changers for posing variety, and they really make this figure stand out. Now let's move on. Alright, let's talk about the little paint quirks, because as much as I said Cap has no major issues, there are a few minor imperfections here and there. Nothing deal-breaking, but let's get into the details. First up, there's this tiny blue paint speck on the side of his torso. It's barely noticeable, but once you know it's there, it's like a little Easter egg you didn't ask for. And hey, if Cap's taking hits in battle, maybe it's just a scuff mark, right? We can roll with it. Then we've got a tiny red dot on his calf. Again, nothing huge, more like a little spot of battle-worn paint than anything glaring. It's one of those things where, unless you're inspecting him with a magnifying glass, you won't even see it. And finally, there's a small patch of white paint on his cowl, plus a little bleed around the ear area on the masked head. But honestly, in person, these details are almost invisible. If you're posing him for display or photography, you'll probably never notice them. So, yeah, a few minor paint quirks here and there, but nothing that takes away from how awesome this figure looks on the whole. Mafex may have left a couple of oops moments in there, but nothing to stress about unless you're super nitpicky. Alright, let's get into the articulation, because they really packed in some fantastic movement here. Starting with the head, he's got a great range. He can turn side to side, tilt for that extra expression, and look up and down pretty far. This means we can really play around with his poses, from serious heroic stares to mid-battle intensity. Now, Cap's shoulder articulation, pretty awesome. He's got a butterfly joint that lets his arms pull forward nicely, which makes shield poses a breeze. Plus, he's got a full 360-degree shoulder rotation with a subtle pull-down method for added range. Bicep swivel, double-jointed elbows. I almost forgot, he has ball hinge wrist. You can get his arms past 90 degrees easily. He can move his arms up, down, front, and back like a champ. And I'll say it, his bigger arms and upper body give him that extra heroic bulk compared to Daredevil, but they don't get in the way of his range. He's still super agile. Now, the torso articulation here is solid. He's got an upper torso twist. And an ab crunch that gives him that nice, natural bend. He can bend back pretty good. Personally, I love this torso setup. They didn't put a cut through the chainmail near the chest, which makes total sense. Since his design is based from his classic look, the chainmail is so close to the chest area. Splitting it there would have looked, well, awkward. Instead, they opted for a cut that lands lower on the torso. While it does break up the stripes on his costume slightly, they're easy to realign, so it doesn't mess with the look too much. It actually adds a bit of realism. In my opinion, since in real life, stripes would shift and fold with movement, I think Mafex leaned into a more natural look, and for Cap, it really works. All right, down to the legs. He's got the drop-down method on the legs, which gives him a bit of extra kick in those high poses. There's a thigh swivel. Double-jointed knees. And while he can't do a full side split, he gets a decent range. High kicks, totally doable. Plus, there's a ball hinge at the ankles and a toe articulation, so he's stable even in more intense poses. Overall, this figure has the best articulation of any Captain America figure out there right now, hands down. Cap here can hit just about every pose you'd want, from classic stances to dynamic action shots. For anyone who loves a well-engineered figure, this guy's a must-have. Now let's put him through his paces and see how epic he looks on display. All right, it's time to see how Cap stacks up against the rest of the collection. Let's line him up for a size comparison and check out how he holds his own among some other heavy hitters. Spoiler alert, he's definitely got that first Avenger presence. Overall, I'd say this Mafex Captain America is a fantastic addition to the lineup. The articulation is super well done, the sculpt looks impressive, and he's just got that powerful, commanding look. Yes, he has a few minor paint quirks, but nothing that stands out enough to detract from how photogenic he is. In terms of functionality and display, he's one of the most posable and versatile cap figures on the market right now. For anyone looking to complete their Avengers display or add a quality cap to their collection, this guy is a definite win. He's got the size, articulation, and detail to make him stand out. So, final thoughts? This cap is ready for action, and whether he's solo on the shelf or leading the charge with his fellow heroes, he's definitely going to shine. And here's a reminder that even in the toughest times, whether we're heroes from different teams, different backgrounds, or have our own unique abilities, at the end of the day, we stand together. Just like Captain America here, sometimes it's about putting aside our differences and uniting for the greater good. So, no matter what challenges we face, let's remember that we're stronger together. Stay united, stay resilient, and as always, keep being heroes in your own way.